Seth Meyers compared Presidents Trump and Biden, saying, "It's interesting. I feel like they're the opposite with stairs and COVID. Like with COVID, Trump took no precautions. Biden took every precaution. But on stairs or ramps, Trump's super careful, always holding the railing, going real slow, whereas Biden throws caution to the wind, trips upstairs 3 times. So it's interesting, you know? It just shows we all contain multitudes." Colbert said, "Our new president's on a roll, baby. Nothing can stop him now except stairs." Trevor, he's facing a lot of challenges in his first 100 days. The vaccine rollout, the crisis at the border, and whatever happened to Miss Frizzle. Whew. But over the weekend, he faced his biggest challenge yet, staying upright. Trevor again, "I'm sorry, guys. I honestly can't believe this happened. The president got knocked over by wind. This is going to be the first president where the Secret Service needs to carry around paperweights. Hold on, sir. Hold on. We got you. Someone sneezed." Colbert said, "He's fine. Can we blame it on his dog Major? No? Do it anyway." Trevor, "It's not like this just happened to Joe Biden, all right? It happens all the time. Biden tripped, Obama tripped, Mike Pence tripped, and the reason isn't because they're old. The reason is because they were running up and down stairs. You shouldn't do that." Trevor, "This would never happen in Africa. I mean, mostly because our presidents fly commercial and they have to wait for their boarding group to be called, but you get what I mean." Trevor, "The point is, we don't think about it because we use stairs so much, all right? Nobody thinks about it, but stairs are basically an obstacle course. You take one wrong step and you're going to eat crap. And that's the one thing that my man Trump understood. You love him or hate him, but you got to treat stairs with respect. He understood that. You walk up slowly, you hold the banister, and you swear to God that if he lets you survive this, you will never walk upstairs ever again." Comedy's starting to come back from the Tennessean, your home for comedy news. The Zanies Comedy Festival takes place April 12th through the 18th at Zanies, Nashville. The shows will include a whole lot of live podcast tapings. Hey, where's my invite, guys? I didn't get one. But you can go see Adam Carolla, Big and Hungry with Brian Callen and Steve Byrne, and Nate Land with local stand-up star Nate Bargatze, but that's already sold out. My show, not invited, not sold out. Other highlights include fellow local standout Dusty Slay, Josh Wolf, and a bunch of others. Nashville.zanies.com if you're in town and you want to go. I won't be there. I'll go if you guys invite me. Mr. Mayor got picked up for a second season. This from Vulture, who writes, "Mr. Mayor, a sitcom so delightful that Chrissy Teigen agreed to slam her body onto the ground multiple times to secure a cameo in it, has been renewed for a second season on NBC. I've told you guys in the past, I like Mr. Mayor. It's a nice, generic NBC sitcom starring Ted Danson. It has no great aspirations, but it's fun. The wife and I liked it, except for Bobby Moynihan's character, who should be, he should resign off screen in between seasons and not return. That character, played by Bobby Moynihan, does not feel like an actual human being who could ever exist. So if they write Bobby out, I think the show would be good. Sorry, Bobby, it's not you, it's the writers. It's terrible. No episode count, no return date, but someday Mr. Mayor will be back. You guys didn't tell me about Esquad 99. I just mixed French and English there. There's a French-Canadian version of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I posted a picture of the cast on Instagram at Daily Comedy News. Oh my goodness, they did a great job. And it's in its second season. Why didn't I know about this? Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't anyone tell me? And I would have told you. Wait, that's a circle. Shooting on the second season has started in Quebec City. Joe Coy spoke to FirstPost.com, which obviously is not your home for comedy news because I told you the Tennessean is, but FirstPost.com is your second source for comedy news. And they write, like many famous comics, Joe Coy had early struggles at comedy clubs, but unlike them, the half-white and half-Filipino comic seemed to only be able to book spots on ethnic theme nights like, this is horrible, wait till you hear this, Wonton Wednesdays and Asian Invasion. Come on. Joe Coy said there's a lot of comics that had to do it. I'm not just saying Asians, black people, Latinos, anyone that was, quotes, other, unquote, had to do these theme shows, and it sucks. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. It was a long road. And when I finally got to this point in my career, I just looked at my manager. I was like, man, I'd really like to tell people, you know, the struggle and how hard it was to really get here. You come to Hollywood, they have no idea what they're looking at, as horrible as that sounds. What's your story? We don't get it. Where do we put you? Joe Coy adds, I don't think about retiring. I'm going to die on that stage. It's kind of hard to explain to an immigrant parent. They don't understand that. But you know what? We're all enjoying this. Great job by Ken Jeong, who donated $50,000 to the families of victims who were killed in the shootings at 3 Atlanta area spas last week. 5 $10,000 donations were made by Ken Jeong to the GoFundMe campaigns for the individual families. Ken shared a video to his Twitter account calling for the end to anti-Asian racism. In the video, Ken said, stop the pandemic of hate. All right, let's see if I can bust out my Jerry Seinfeld impression. Now, if you listen, I don't do the Jerry Seinfeld that most people do. I don't do the, you ever notice that? I don't do that one. I do the, kind of flustered Jerry. I found, and I don't know if this is the article that I mentioned on yesterday's podcast, but I found an article where Jerry wrote in a car magazine. This from automobilemag.com. Under the headline, Jerry Seinfeld reviews the Porsche Carrera GT. Normally, this would be some quality weekend filler, but let me do it today because, like I said yesterday, I was going to try and find it, and I did. Jerry Seinfeld writes, "Yeah, I wonder how this is going to turn out. I wonder if Jerry Seinfeld, well-known Porsche psychopath, is going to like the new carbon fiber mid-engine 604 horsepower Porsche supercar, the Carrera GT. Maybe you should flip to the last paragraph where writers typically have their conclusions, see if it's thumbs up or thumbs down. Yes, I know there's a need for more automotive sarcasm, and the truth is, I've always wanted to write for a car magazine. Next to being a stand-up comedian, I can't think of a less important way to make a living. I mean, really, who the hell cares? And priding myself as I do on being an accomplished avatar of the ephemeral, the mutual attraction was irresistible. I don't have my good Jerry today, so he writes, so off we flew to a former Soviet airbase in the former East Germany, complete with MiG-27 hangars with trees and grass on top of them to hide them from the sky. This is where Porsche is giving test drives of its new machine. I brought along my friend Spike Feresten, writer of the famous Soup Nazi episode of my TV series, not for the obvious irony of that, but because he also has a Porsche thing. As we sat in the little East German hotel cafe, we heard Marlene Dietrich's Falling in Love Again circa 1930, gently wafting from the sound system. Are they kidding? Are we really in Germany, or is this Epcot Center? Wienerschnitzel and pretzels for breakfast? Come on, this is a joke, right? It wasn't, but we couldn't have laughed any louder if it was. That's the thing about Eastern Europe and why it spawned the Jewish comedy culture, which became the New York comedy culture, which became the world's comedy culture. You got to be funny in this place. There's no other way. You sift out the war, the racial hatreds, the murder, madness, and mayhem, and this place is a riot. We're in the middle of a car review here, by the way, everybody. Jerry Seinfeld continues, and we loved it. Everything about it felt right. What a better place to show off a weapon than a military installation, and what better audience to show it off than to a couple of knucklehead Jewish comedy guys. We got there on the last couple days of a 3-week press tour, and our giggly noodle brains seemed to be just the thing to cheer up the Porsche guys. There's a lot left, and I have other things I need to cover today. This is going to be weekend filler. All right, we'll get to that more on the weekend, but that's Jerry Seinfeld in Automobile Mag. Did you vote yet for comedy's top dog this week? The battle. Dave Chappelle, defending champion, taking on Eddie Murphy. You go to Instagram at Daily Comedy News. You vote. You write something witty. I read it to you on the show. Take me up on that offer so that I can do that. Instagram at Daily Comedy News. Chappelle versus Eddie Murphy. If you like what I do, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/dailycomedynews. And Lane Spurkis did that. And not only do I appreciate the coffee, and I do, Lane, thank you very much. Today was, as always, an iced coffee with caramel and milk. And I like this comment a lot. Lane wrote, keep that professional-sounding voice refreshed. I look forward to Daily Comedy News because it's entertaining, informative, and professionally done. Great work. Thank you very much, Lane Spurkis. Last week was actually the most downloaded week of the podcast yet. March should be the biggest month. You don't want to count the downloads before they're downloaded, but we are pacing to have the biggest month yet. So thank you very much, everybody, for supporting the show. buymeacoffee.com/dailycomedynews. The Melbourne Comedy Festival is kicking off. Australia seems to have COVID under control enough anyway to have comedy festivals. From Beat.com, your third choice for comedy news. They wrote, being cast in the Comedy Zone is a pretty big deal for emerging comedians. It's a tick of approval from the festival, who are taking acts from the anonymity of circuit gigs and putting them on a path to success. Doesn't always work, but they've certainly backed some winners over the 21-year history of the group. Long before Nanette blew up the global conversation, Hannah Gatsby did the Comedy Zone in 2007. Ronnie Chang is another name that you would know that came out of the Comedy Zone. So for the cast of the 2020 Comedy Zone, yes, last year, I didn't make a mistake there, it's been an emotional ride from the elation of being chosen to the devastation of it being canceled. Melbourne stand-up comedian Andrew Portelli said, I'm not going to lie, I lost a bit of perspective. I asked my parents to send my sword over by mail. Luckily, they sent it by Australia Post, so I didn't get it. That's a great joke. However, after a long wait, their time to shine has arrived. Andrew Portelli is part of the 2021 slate. He joins Queensland's Andrew Lee, Floyd Alexander Hunt, and Elliot Stewart, both from New South Wales and who were 2019 Raw Comedy State and National finalists, respectively. And Western Australia's Raw State finalist Tor Snyder. Portelli says Tor and I both started out in Perth, and we've all been in a group chat since last year, which is a bond stronger than iron. I like this guy. It went pretty well. Portelli started at stand-up in 2008. He said, it went pretty well, but it destroyed me mentally. I decided to finish my law degree before I went back. Comedy Zone, if you're in Melbourne, starts Thursday, March 25th, and I know how time zones work. Even though this is the Wednesday episode to me, it might be Thursday already for you. You should go. It's at Trades Hall. From the ABC, no, not that one, the other one, the Australian one, Alex Dyson, who opened a comedy club in Melbourne's Central Business District with 2 other comedians in November, said there was already big demand for live performances with a bunch of shows at their venue selling out. Alex says people are just really happy to be out laughing again, particularly in Melbourne, where it suffered a fair brunt of the lockdowns in Australia. I'm so tempted to go into an Australian accent. When I was down there, I saw a t-shirt that would help me reset my vowels from my harsh Queens, New York sounding vowels. And what the t-shirt says is, bananas are for piranhas, and that would help me reset my A's. Bananas are for piranhas. Where I'm from, those 2 words don't rhyme. The vibes have been absolutely excellent. The shared experience of what everyone's been through, having people get up and talk through it and show that we've all experienced it. It's been really nice to share that with people. Comedian Jude Pearl says small venues are important for performers starting out. It's not you start doing any kind of performance, then you go straight to a 300-seater venue. Those smaller venues are essential in doing career growth for comedians, musicians, all performers. I don't even want to think about them closing because it would be so devastating, and that's why it's important to check out shows you might not have heard and keep going. Amen on that. If you're ever at a comedy festival, go to the smaller shows. I'm telling you, that's where the action is. And the New York Times seems to really like James Acaster's new special. I haven't gotten to that one yet. They say, spoilers. The highlight is the breakup, a tale that focuses on how his girlfriend went on to date Rowan Atkinson, you know, Mr. Bean. Acaster describes the peculiarly hilarious horror of being a young comic left for Mr. Bean, a phrase he says over and over again with the urgency of violins in a horror movie. It's a masterwork of cringe comedy, one he consistently digresses from to anticipate the criticism that he's being bitter and petty. He uses his own sensitivity to add another layer of tension to his stories. In explaining the fallout with his agent, he makes a big show of being fair, so much that he says he will only tell the story from his point of view, and it begins, the first thing you have to know is I ruined everything, and I did it for a laugh. That is your comedy news for today. Lane Spurkus, thank you for the coffee. BuyMeACoffee.com/Daily Comedy News. You guys need to vote. Instagram at Daily Comedy News. Dave Chappelle versus Eddie Murphy. Get on that. Follow the show on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. See you tomorrow.